This video is sponsored by Noragon, the commercial vehicle data experts. Visit noragon.com to learn more.
So we started this new team building initiative, board games at lunch. I read about it in a management book. I think it's going really well.
I hate this. I hate him. I hate this game. So what? I'm a little competitive. Do I have to win? No, of course not. Will I accept defeat? Also no.
If either side controls Europe, then that side wins Europe.
It doesn't say that.
I got Europe.
It doesn't say that. Where does it? Show me where it says that.
It's over here.
Okay, maybe I could use some pointers on overcoming challenges. I should probably look for the reason why I'm losing instead of just getting just a little bit mad about it.
The Cambridge 5. The US player exposes all scoring cards in their hand.
I'm done. Done. Done.
Hi everyone, welcome to FE's Data Center, the series that aims to make truck data approachable. I'm Jason.
And I'm Tess.
Not being able to figure out something can make you feel like you're losing it. Is that too soon?
As much as I hate to admit it, Jason's right. Getting stuck on the same questions can leave you in a state of frustration. Attempting to unravel never-ending mysteries can feel like an endless loop of defeat. Maybe what you assume to be an easy fix turns into a head-scratcher, or the standard repair you've done a dozen times simply isn't giving you the result you were hoping for.
Just as Thomas Edison once said, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that it won't work. As perplexing as diagnostic mysteries can be, the opportunity to try something new and learn about the operations of your software can help you develop a better understanding of the technology you interact with every day.
The hard-to-find issues help make for a more well-rounded and seasoned technician, so that the next time the problem comes rolling into your base, you can take guesswork off the table. As confusing as the unknowns can be, they just may help you stumble across answers you've been looking for, or a whole new way of doing things.
So what are the most surprising service diagnostic mysteries that our friends at Noragon have solved, and what was the process for tackling that? Well, let's turn to our friends at Noragon for the answer.
So one of the most surprising diagnosis experience that I've had throughout my career was a medium-duty truck. So it was a modern diesel engine, emission system, DPF, SCR, all that stuff. Going through it, the customer complaint was that it had low power. So I took it for test drive. First stage of the game, you have to verify the customer complaint. I couldn't get it to act up in the period of time that I was allotted for diagnosis, so I contacted the customer to try to get some more information. They said it did it sometimes, so continue driving the truck to get to the point of duplicating the customer's problem. Eventually found out during the test drive that the low power happened during passive DPF regeneration. And so with that knowledge, we brought it back to the shop, started looking into it, and because this vehicle was still under warranty, you had to get tech assist involved at the dealer level, technical service manager, folks like that. And based on the guidance from tech assist and the technical service management team, we replaced a whole bunch of components on this truck. It still ended up having the same issue. I mean, we worked on it for probably close to 2 weeks, just replacing parts and taking it for test drive and having the same issue pop back up. So we didn't have it fixed after putting a ton of parts into it. Eventually they got to the point of saying, well, you should replace the ECU. And in my experience, it's almost never an ECU issue. If you get to that point, you really need to stop and step back and question what else could be going on, because the ECUs have a really good ability to protect themselves. It's very rare that they actually fail. So stepping back, going back to basics, we knew we had some sort of an airflow issue into the engine. And this particular engine didn't have pattern failures associated with what I ended up finding. Because there was an airflow issue, I tested every possible airflow route into this engine to the point before removing components. So airflow through the turbo, piping, intercooler, all that stuff. And then you got to the part that you couldn't really see well. and I pulled the intake manifold off. And that was when I realized the intake runners on this engine were closed up and had portholes the size of a pencil. And so I guess it was just enough air when it was not doing passive regeneration to keep the engine moving and up to speed. But during passive regeneration, it must not have had enough air to keep up with demand, because there is some air requirement to perform the passive regeneration. And so seeing those ports carboned up and clogged up as they were, chiseled them all out with a screwdriver and a vacuum cleaner, got them all nice and clean, put everything back together, and the truck was fixed. So at the end of the day, troubleshooting procedures and guidance from external resources, while very well intentioned and they are the proper process and procedure to follow, can sometimes only take you so far, where things like, in this case, the intake manifold ports are sort of assumed to be clean and clear, right? There was no real pattern failure to suggest that this was a common occurrence across this particular fleet, this particular OEM. And so finding this, was sort of that needle in a haystack kind of example. So even though we got it fixed in this case, this type of information was, at that point shared with our shop as well as technical service managers at the OEM, and that is something that they include with certain airflow diagnostic related issues moving forward. And so again, going back to basics and just thinking about things outside the box is sometimes what you have to do as a technician to solve issues that are not necessarily have a documented start to finish.
All right then. While they can be frustrating in the moment, each diagnostic mystery you solve will help shape your understanding of the trucks and system software displaying the data. Well, speaking of which, would you look at the time? Lunchtime. Where'd that board game go? Let me see if I can find it.